It was precious time with Hollywood's biggest star. An interview with Tom Cruise about his new film, War of the Worlds. There's no doubt the movie will be a success, with Cruise as the leading man and Steven Spielberg in the director's chair. But before we sat down, there was an unusual request. An invitation to a session on Scientology, the controversial religion Tom's been following for the past 20 years. So I went, and then I met him. And that's when I discovered there's another side to Tom Cruise, that when he's angry, the cool man of Hollywood can become downright icy. There's a saying in Hollywood, name 3 actors who can guarantee you a box office smash. Answer, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
I feel the need for speed.
And Tom Cruise.
Show me the money!
For half his life, he's been the biggest movie star in the world. His films, even the bad ones, routinely rake in more than $250 million. In a business where the bottom line is the only line, Cruise is king.
I think I feel, you know how I feel? I feel privileged. That's how I feel. I feel I live a privileged life.
At 42, he's one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, in control of everything and everyone he encounters.
How are you?
Hey, Tom.
Peter, how you been, man?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Long time.
I know.
Yeah, take a
How
seat.
you been? Where do you
You're
want me to sit?
But today, that famous cruise control will be tested.
You're stepping over a line now.
Okay.
You're stepping over a line. You know you are. I'm just telling you right now, put your manners back in.
Tom Cruise is used to getting what he wants. He was still a child when he first set his sights on Hollywood.
I wanted to be an actor when I was about 4 years old.
Really?
Yeah, 4 years old. I thought about it. It was the first time I thought of being an actor. I was living in St. Louis. That was the very first time I thought about being an actor. It just evolved. I wasn't necessarily thinking of this. I mean, I didn't plan this out. This just happened.
This boy from a broken home set himself a deadline to achieve success, and he didn't have to wait too long. In 1981, in his first film, Taps, the director was so impressed with the young Cruise, he gave him someone else's part.
It's beautiful, man! Beautiful! You want answers? I think I'm entitled.
He never looked back.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
In more than 30 films, he's given us some of the most iconic movie moments of the past 2 decades.
I love you. You complete me.
Just shut up. You had me at hello.
But off-screen, Cruise has devoted much of his power, influence and substantial wealth to the Church of Scientology. It's a controversial religious philosophy based on the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard. Scientologists believe we are spiritual beings in control of our own destiny, and that therapies like psychiatry wrongly label individuals. The message struck a chord with the young Cruise at a time when he was struggling with dyslexia.
I had what absolutely they defined as learning disabilities, dyslexia.
That's what you were diagnosed that you had?
Sure, absolutely. That's what they do. You've got ADD, ADHD, and you go, what is the solution to that? Well, there isn't a solution. And now today it's take drugs. They actually wanted to put me on drugs. My mother wouldn't let them back then. And then when a friend of mine actually gave me this, it was actually this picture book about suppression, and social and antisocial personalities, and I was like, what is this? They said Scientology. I said, oh, I'm very interested. And that's when I became a Scientologist, about 20 years ago.
It has obviously had a massive impact on you.
No, it was significant, I mean, you look at, as a father, as an actor, as a businessman, I mean, every level, something these tools that I apply absolutely every day.
I've done my fair share of celebrity interviews, and often you'll be asked to meet certain requirements, like watch the movie that the star is promoting. But this is something new. Tom Cruise's office has asked me to come to the Scientology Celebrity Centre in Los Angeles to embark on a 4-hour crash course in Scientology and what it's all about.
Why then was it a condition of me talking to you today that I had to spend quite an intense 4.5 hours in the Church of Scientology here in Los Angeles?
Oh, you didn't have to. You could have said no.
I felt I had to.
Okay. Well, that's how you felt. People are interested in Scientology, and I find that people wanted to know. They want to know about it. And it's also, there's people out there that want help and that need help.
Would you also agree, though, Tom, that there's a perception out there that it gets bad press, cult-like secrecy, controlling, and you almost have to defend it?
I don't feel it's ignorance breeds bigotry.
Right.
Breeds racism. Okay. You have been there and you've seen it for yourself. Okay.
Do you feel discriminated against when people say this is what Scientology is, that you're a bunch on a lunatic fringe or whatever? Does that...
Peter?
Tom?
No one's ever said that to me.
But no, I mean that perception out there.
Yeah, but that's not the perception out there. That is absolutely, maybe from your perspective.
This isn't my personal opinion. I'm just saying, how do you feel about that when people...
Well, how would you feel?
Oh, if it was my faith, I'd feel
Well, not even your own faith. I find that appalling when people who don't know what they're talking about say things like that. I think it's appalling. I think it's appalling that they're still burning synagogues in France. I think it's appalling how certain Muslims are being treated. I think it's absolutely appalling when we talk about freedom of speech and human rights. I think it's appalling that they electric shock people. I think it's appalling that they drug children. I think it's appalling that they say that there are no solutions for those things. I think it's appalling that people have to live a life of drug addiction, okay, when I have personally helped people get off drugs.
It's obvious Tom Cruise is a passionate man, especially passionate when it comes to his own family. He's determined his adopted kids, Isabella and Connor, will have as normal an upbringing as possible.
Your family life was difficult. You're estranged from your father, and your mum and dad were divorced. Has that had an impact on you as a dad, how you bring up your children?
Do you have children?
I'm hoping to.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I hope I can.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a great mother and a very close family, and it's something that I always wanted to be a father. And I think that one of the great things that we've done with our children is allowing them to be themselves.
Is that hard, to give them a perspective that they are like the kids down the road, even though their parents are who you are?
Here's the point. Everybody's different, Peter. I don't buy into this whole thing of being normal. There's no such thing as normal. When you really look at someone's life and you look into their life, everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone has something that is going on that is very unique to them. So that, with regards to our children, it's, I think they feel very fortunate for the life they have, and they're really good people. I'm really proud of them.
Of course, the Cruise children are Australian citizens and spend much of their time here with their mother, Nicole Kidman. But it was when our conversation turned to Nicole that the cool man of Hollywood turned icy.
Now, Nicole, when you were married, it was like you were an adopted part of Australia. Do you still have a connection to Australia?
Yeah, well, my children are Australian, absolutely. I have a lot of friends in Australia. I love Australia.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years.
Listen, we raised children. How do you answer that? How do you answer that question? She's someone that I plan on getting married again.
You do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And having kids?
Absolutely.
But Nicole was a major part of your life and a love of your life at the time.
I loved Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's work?
Listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
I suppose they're questions though,
Peter,
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay. So I'm just telling you right now. Okay. Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I apologise for that
Good.
sincerely.
Good.
I admired her, and I thought that I wanted to meet her.
Yet
So
seldom
I
a
called
week
her.
goes by when Tom Cruise's private
wanted
life
to meet her.
isn't very publicly displayed.
Tom, does that mean
When
you're
good
going to
things
ask her to
happen-
marry you? Does that mean you're going to ask her to marry you, Tom?
In this recent appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, he openly, and some have said over-enthusiastically, declared his love for new girlfriend Katie Holmes.
That's how I feel about it.
Do you believe in your role that there is a place where the world does want to know about your personal life and there is a line that you have to draw?
Absolutely. I mean, I know people are interested, and I don't have a problem with that. And I also don't have a problem to say, hey, listen, you know, where I am with Nick is in a great place. I don't mind answering questions, but there's a way of phrasing something that's polite and has manners, and things that I say, you know what, I wouldn't answer that to someone coming up to me at a party.
Yeah.
I have no problem. Of course I know people want to know about my life.
Yeah. But when I read so much about you, Tom, these are questions you answer.
Peter, you want to waste your time on this right
Oh,
now?
I don't.
Or do you want to ask some other questions?
20 years' time, where will Tom
Peter,
Cruise...
good. You want to move on? Peter, come on. Let's go, man.
The 21st
And
century,
so we did.
that our world was being watched.
Get down! Just get up! Get down! Get
To Cruise's new movie, War of the Worlds. A $200 million remake of the H.G. Wells classic. Teaming up with the most bankable director in the world, Steven Spielberg, Cruise plays a father trying to save his family
I can't tell you now.
amid an alien invasion.
I love him as an actor, and he's a very underappreciated natural actor. I mean, he plays, you know, bigger than life hero characters in many of his films, but he's never played a dad. And he's a great father. I know him more as a father than in a professional working experience. I'd known him since '83, and I knew Tom when he first adopted his first two kids, and so I really felt that this part suited Tom to a T.
Take care of our kids.
Rachel,
Dad,
Sweetheart?
who's carrying?
I need you to get your
Dad.
suitcase.
Who's the star in this? Is it the aliens, the Martians, or is it Tom Cruise?
I never kind of look at it like that. It's a story. It's a story about this family. The aliens are spectacular. The tripods are spectacular. The sequences are spectacular. But at the bottom of any story, if you don't have those characters that you want to follow as an audience, that's really what I invest in when I'm seeing a movie.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
It's been an extraordinary life so far. Cruise's wealth is estimated at $450 million, and his 10% take from War of the Worlds could add another $100 million. But he insists it's not the fortune nor fame that drives him.
I wanted an adventurous life, my whole life. I want to know people. I want to understand what life is about, Peter, and I really I want to help people. It's not something that I just say. It's something that I actively pursue, and that's how I feel. I feel privileged, truly.
Tom, thank you.
Peter, thanks, man.
What I'd call an interesting interview.
Thanks, pal. It was terrific, man. Thank you. Thank you.
It was terrific. God,
I think it was terrific.
even after you told me to learn some manners.
That's all right. You stepped out of line. I whacked you. We got on with it.
Good on you.
Thanks, buddy.
Welcome back. Over the years, we've heard a lot about the Church of Scientology. It's high profile, bolstered by Hollywood A-listers. But what goes on behind the walls of this religion isn't always glamorous. The church is led by David Miscavige, a man who usually prefers to stay out of the public eye. But now his niece has shone a bright, unwelcome light upon the church and its behaviour. Jenna Miscavige Hill spent more than 20 years in the church with her uncle. She told her story to Liz Hayes.
There's not an exact criteria for evil, but I would definitely say, somebody who makes rules that thousands and thousands of people can't have children and runs a church where there's child labor, forced and coerced abortions, where people are separated from their family. If that's not evil, then what is,
29-year-old Jenna Miscavige Hill is talking about the Church of Scientology.
Well, thank you very much.
Run by her own uncle, David Miscavige.
It's just a game of power and control. It strips away your individuality and your conscience and just makes you do whatever their bidding is. People are either bad or good. They're either for Scientology or against Scientology.
Well, what's the difference between Scientology and a cult?
I can't think of any.
Scientology established its first church here in Los Angeles in 1954. It's always attracted controversy, not the least because its creator, the late L. Ron Hubbard, was a science fiction writer with, let's say, some interesting views. But over the years, the church has been accused of, at best, bizarre behaviour and, at worst, criminal conduct. Now, what Jenna Miscavige Hill, the church leader's niece, has to say, casts yet another very dark shadow over the church. For most of her life, Scientology was all Jenna Miscavige Hill had ever known. From childhood, she lived in the inner sanctum of the church. Her parents and grandparents were Scientologists, and it was where she met her husband, Dallas.
Church is first.
Right, before family, before friends, especially before yourself.
And that became clear, says Jenna, from early childhood. Her parents were part of the clergy, or Sea Org as they're called, and according to Jenna, spent long periods away from their children.
From when I was 4, I started only seeing them once a week. And then from when I was 12 until I was 18, I saw my mom twice, and my dad 4 times. And the majority of those times were for less than an hour.
Well, of course, from an outsider's perspective, I'd be saying, well, why weren't your parents trying to contact you?
It's hard, it's this whole mind control business. To see that was a bad situation, they would have to see their whole world crumbling down.
When she was 6, Jenna was sent here, to the Ranch, a Scientology boarding school just outside of Los Angeles.
It was run like a military-type school. Everything we did was very regimented. We did manual labor for 35 hours a week, and it was anything from digging ditches for irrigation to hauling wheelbarrows full of gravel to make cactus gardens, to hauling rocks to make rock walls, to weeding for fire breakers, things like that.
And it was here that Jenna says that she signed away her heart and soul. At just 7 years of age, she signed a contract committing her to 1 billion years with the church.
Did you know what you were signing?
I knew that it was 1 billion years, but it was more, and I knew that that's what my parents did, but it was more that I didn't know that I had any other option,
Well, a 7-year-old signing a 1 billion-year contract sounds outrageous.
Right, yeah, but it did bind me emotionally and mentally, and, I wanted to be loyal and keep that contract. I never thought that I ever wouldn't.
Dallas, did you sign a 1 billion-year contract?
Yeah, when I was 18 and joined the Sea Org, I signed.
And you didn't hesitate?
No, at first I had someone yelling at my face and telling me I was evil for not signing it because I wanted to be an actor and to go off and do normal stuff. So, yeah, it took about a few months of constantly interrogating me and pressuring me and telling me that's the greatest thing in the world.
75 million years ago, the galaxy was ruled by a tyrant named Xenu. One day, Xenu rounded up various wrongdoers and imprisoned them in volcanoes on Earth, which was then called Tegeac.
This is the world according to church founder L. Ron Hubbard.
Hydrogen bombs were dropped on them. Then their spirits, called Thetans, were trapped in humans. And that is the cause of all our sufferings. Only through Scientology can our Thetans be cleared.
Do you ever think that you might be quite mad?
Oh, yes. The one man in the world who never believes he's mad is a madman.
Hubbard died in 1986, but his teachings, based seemingly on a mix of science fiction and psychoanalysis, continues today.
We had pictures of him in every room, pretty much. You know, we had to clap to his picture at the end of every day, several times a day even.
Since its inception, Scientology has come under intense scrutiny, but never more so than now, after a number of former church members have made serious allegations of abuse and mistreatment.
You're not encouraged to have children, are you? Or are you banned from having children?
Well, regular Scientologists are allowed to have children, but members of the Sea Org are not allowed to have children.
And if you fell pregnant, what would happen?
Many people are coerced into having abortions, guilted into it, told that, well, you're not following your billion-year contract, you're betraying us.
Because that's a serious allegation to make, that you're encouraged or made to think that an abortion is an appropriate action.
It is serious, but it's completely true. It's like many people, many friends of mine, I've even seen it happen in some cases. So yes, it's very serious, but it's completely the truth.
For those who broke any of the church rules, punishment could take many forms. Dallas claims it meant being locked in the basement of this building.
We had premarital sex and we got in trouble, and I was in the basement for 2 weeks and told that if I didn't cooperate, I'd never see Jen again and I'd never see my parents again.
The church has categorically denied Dallas's allegations. Scientology owes much of its high profile to Hollywood and a number of its stars who have embraced the church, including Tom Cruise.
I do what I can, and I do it the way I do everything. There's nothing part of the way for me. It's just...
Cruise and David Miscavige, the church leader, are said to be close friends. But according to Dallas, who worked at the Scientology Celebrity Center, there had, at one time, been some concerns.
Tom Cruise is, for many, the biggest name in the church. When you were there, Dallas, so you were aware that Nicole Kidman had some influence on how he was being viewed.
Well, yeah, when I was at the celebrity church, he wasn't around. He wasn't on services, and I was told from them that it was because Nicole Kidman was an influence on him.
And not a good one.
And not a good one.
Is it possible for Tom Cruise to have a partner and not, who's not a participant of the church and stay in the church?
As a Scientologist, you believe that Scientology is going to save that person. So if you really love someone, there's almost no chance that you wouldn't do everything you could to make them into a Scientologist.
Having been born and bred a Scientologist and as the niece of David Miscavige, any thoughts of leaving were always going to be a challenge for Jenna. But the idea took seed when the church sent Jenna and Dallas to work in Australia.
That was a turning point, you say, for both of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Because I had never been around non-Scientologists in my life before. So it was an interesting chance to see that, no, not everyone is a Scientologist, not everyone is in love with Scientology, and they were actually kind of normal and pretty cool. And all of a sudden you could see everything for what it was, how controlled it was.
The decision to leave the church caused Dallas and Jenna enormous heartache. They claim they were pressured to stay, with threats they would lose all contact with their families.
Jenna says she considered suicide. You did stand on a ledge and tell them you would jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fairly extreme position to take.
That was the only option I had. I mean, they had taken everything else away from me. They'd taken away my family. They'd moved me away from my friends so many times. Now they were taking Dallas away. You know, what else could I do? All I knew is that the church feared bad publicity.
It seems to me it still hurts you to this day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Tough. Sorry.
It's okay.
Clearly, it was a terrible time.
Yeah, I mean, there's, who knows what would have happened. That's the scary thing, is they have so much control and so much mind control over you that you just are at their whim.
Castle Canyon School was a big property. It was beautiful. It was a nice place for kids to grow up.
The church has denied all of Jenna's allegations, describing them as tabloid tales which should be taken with a grain of salt. And it has set up a website to refute her claims about the ranch.
I love the experience. It was very heartwarming.
I mean, this is amazing. Like, who gets an experience of working on a farm these days?
Well, of course, the church has declared that you're a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a liar?
No, everything I'm saying is completely true. The church is the liars, you know? I mean, there's so many stories like mine out there that corroborate each other and that they just can't keep a handle on it anymore.
You are accused of exploiting your uncle's name.
Mm-hmm.
You're cashing in on being a Miscavige.
Right. I mean, it's just like what I'm saying is the truth. If by nature of me having his name brings more attention to it, then awesome, because it should.
Jenna and Dallas now live in Southern California, and Jenna has written a book about her time in the church.
I feel like now, finally, I feel like I know myself, you know, I have my own family, I know what I want.
They're parents to children Archie and Winnie, and are now living the life they say they almost lost.
We're all different, we all have something to give, and so to me, the fact that Scientology takes away the chance for people to live their lives and be who they are, to me, that's what makes it dangerous. It's like a crime against humanity, against life itself.
Welcome back to 60 Minutes. It's the biggest challenge the Church of Scientology has ever faced, as two of its leaders fight each other in the courts. For 17 years, Marty Rathbun was a loyal deputy to the church leader, David Miscavige. But in 2004, Marty Rathbun left and began to speak out about what he witnessed during his years inside Scientology. It made him enemy number one and triggered years of alleged harassment of him and his wife, Monique. Monique Rathbun has now launched a major lawsuit against the church and its leader. It could lift the lid on the Church of Scientology's most explosive secrets and for the first time see David Miscavige having to face some serious questioning. So you're under surveillance.
Yes.
And you're being watched.
Right.
And being watched and not knowing it.
Right. And knowing from where.
What does that do to you?
It makes you a prisoner. It is what it does. It makes you a total prisoner.
And you became that prisoner
Absolutely.
in your own
I
home.
Still am. Yeah.
To this day.
To this day.
Monique Rathbun is under siege. Not because of anything she's done, but apparently because of what her husband knows.
I was the Inspector General. There's no higher post within their hierarchy.
You and Miscavige are the only two Scientologists who got the Medal of Honor.
Right.
So you're a big deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say that.
Marty Rathbun was a member of the Church of Scientology for 27 years and worked right beside the leader of the church, David Miscavige.
Marty Rathbun and I were in Washington, D.C.
But Marty and his former boss are now at war. In what is shaping up as one of the biggest court battles the church has ever faced.
Come on, Marty. Got anything to say? You can't even defend yourself on this, can you?
What's your name?
I gave you my name, Marty.
What's your name?
Marty, I gave you my name. Now let's go take a look at a folder.
What's your name?
Why don't you answer his question?
What's your name?
For 199 days, Monique and Marty Rathbun say they were subjected to this.
It's like all things Marty! We can't even make that go right!
A ruthless intimidation campaign that they allege was conducted by these people.
I think Marty's better than we are.
Marty! Come on, get wet! We love it! Woohoo! This is all things Marty! Woo! The squirrel himself! How you doing, Mr. Squirrel?
They call themselves Squirrel Busters and allegedly harassed the Rathburns because Marty spoke out against the church.
You're squirreling, and we would like to
What's
see
your
that
name,
bring to an
please?
end.
You guys gonna stick around here?
Yeah, Marty, we're here for weeks and weeks.
As long as it takes.
Are you just collateral damage?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, yeah. And I think that they're probably a little bewildered that I've stuck in there this long, hung in there this long.
Monique Rathburn, who has never been a Scientologist, is now suing the church, which could see for the first time Scientology's leader, David Miscavige, having to answer some tough questions. Do you blame David Miscavige?
Absolutely. There's nobody else that has more to lose with him speaking out than David Miscavige. Who else would care about him speaking out?
In your opinion, he's the man that's pulling the strings.
Oh yeah, it's beyond opinion. There's not even a scintilla of the things that have occurred with us over the past 5 years that would not require his direct order in order to do.
Marty Rathburn left the church in 2004 after experiencing years of what he alleges was a culture of violence. Ironically, he was in charge of dealing with church defectors. As well as dealing with some of the church's biggest stars, including Tom Cruise.
I recovered him back into Scientology, got him to become a very hardcore Scientologist after him being sort of disconnected from the church and from Miscavige for about 8 to 10 years.
And that was the time that he and Nicole Kidman were together.
Well, it was that's when he had split from Scientology, and as they split, I reeled him back into Scientology.
Is it true that Miscavige asked for secret videotapes of Tom Cruise's auditing sessions with you?
Yes, he ordered that the sessions be recorded. He also ordered that I write detailed summaries, particularly of confessional or these security checkings. It wasn't until 2 years ago, which was several years after I left the church, that I heard from Tom Defactor, who was with Miscavige as he was having his nightly scotch before he would go to bed, when he received those reports. And he would sit there joking over, Tom's love life and, personal details about his family.
It's inside information the church wants kept secret, and one reason why Marty Rathburn and his wife have allegedly been targeted. Keeping secrets has been part of the church ethos since being founded in 1954 by science fiction author, the late L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, yes. The one man in the world who never believes he's mad is a madman.
And the church has worked hard to avoid scrutiny, especially since facing numerous allegations of criminal behaviour and being questioned about its mysterious church compounds, including this one, with its huge runway big enough to land a jet in remote New Mexico.
There are a few unusual features at this compound. This building is set into the side of a mountain which leads to an underground vault. We're also told that there is a house specifically built for L. Ron Hubbard's return. Even though he died 27 years ago, he apparently is coming back. And he'll be guided here by huge symbols cut into the landscape, seen only from the air.
It's one of the places where they have these vaults that are deep into the earth that are supposed to withstand nuclear blasts.
And there's also on that site the house where L. Ron Hubbard is supposed to come back to. He should be back by now.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's tardy.
Where is he?
AWOL.
It's the kind of talk that seemed to make these Scientology foot soldiers intent on silencing Marty, even if that meant pushing his wife to breaking point.
Get off the cart, Paul.
It became where they were starting to ambush us. So we'd be out fishing and walking in off from the beach with our fishing poles and our, and the buckets and everything. And here they come jumping out of the van with the cameras in our face, yelling at us, saying all these crazy things.
How did you not go mad?
It was a process, believe it or not. In the initial part of it, it was terrifying. And then, after a while, it was just like, enough already. And you can only take so much.
Marty, let's take a look at a folder. What's your name? Marty, let's take a look at a folder. You can't touch him, Marty.
All right, I've got you guys now. Now leave, and don't come back.
They found surveillance cameras set up in a vacant neighbouring home, allegedly put there by people employed by the church. And it didn't end there.
So it was a multi-pronged attack.
Multi-pronged, multifaceted.
Marty, the point of targeting Monique is to break you, is it?
Yes, she hasn't spoke out against them. She hasn't blown the whistle on them. I have. They've been unable to silence me, so they gradually more and more set their crosshairs on her.
You never once thought, this isn't worth it?
No. No.
Marty and Monique eventually moved to another home. There they thought they were alone until they discovered another camera pointing into their backyard.
Your home is your castle.
Right.
That's supposed to be the place where you can be who you want to be. It's your private world.
We spent most of the warm weather here in the backyard, swimming, coming home from work, swimming, and playing Scrabble in the porch, on the porch. I won't even come back here anymore because I don't know. I just don't know what's out there. I have no idea.
Even now.
In fact, I think this is the first time you've been back here since July.
Yeah, that's devastating.
I was continuously, over the past 4 years, continuously surprised at how over the top and how more relentless and how more crazy that their activity has become. And
even you were surprised.
I was absolutely surprised.
You, in many respects, were the master of this kind of
I was the
intimidation.
Yes, I was the boss of the people that were spearheading the activities against us.
I told you to leave. Get out of here. Oh, no, I'm leaving. Beat it. Now, who's busting who?
Marty, you're the one who's busting because you're the squirrel.
I said, get off my property, boy.
It's a tough one now, knowing what you're going through, when you reflect, knowing you did participate in activities similar to others.
And I feel that some of it is karma, and it is I'm getting back what I dished out. Quite frankly, though, I think that balance was paid off some time ago.
Monique is now seeking a permanent restraining order and compensation for emotional distress. Pre-trial hearings are underway.
We will prove that one person is behind it. A man named David Miscavige, who is the self-proclaimed Pope of Scientology.
The church is fighting back, employing a staggering 21 lawyers.
This is a simple case of an invasion of privacy by a woman who feels like she was abused. That's not Mr. Miscavige. He's not the one who's behind it.
To prove how David Miscavige directs staff, these text messages allegedly from him have become part of the case. David Miscavige uses foul language to berate his staff, whose job it was to ultimately elicit this moment, the makers of a BBC documentary.
No, Tommy, you stop now! No, listen to me! You were not there at the beginning of that interview! You were not there!
How would David Miscavige treat the exposure of those texts? How would he be feeling about those being out in the public record?
Oh, he'd be absolutely beside himself.
Because they're quite graphic.
Yeah, but you see, that's him. That's a glimpse, but that's him from dawn till dusk, from morning, noon, and night. That's a little glimpse of David Miscavige, but that's David Miscavige all the time.
Monique Rathburn's court action against the Church of Scientology is a true David and Goliath battle. A church seemingly doing anything to avoid scrutiny, and a husband and wife who refuse to be shut down.
They like to, try and cloak themselves in this religious flag, but this stuff that you're doing has nothing to do with religion. You can worship whoever you want. I don't care. I don't care. But you cannot behave like that. You can't do that.
I think that whole militaristic, sort of disciplined, kind of controlled esprit de corps of the cult, which at one point or another served a purpose for me and many others. For some, I think it just has so much value to them that they're not ever going to change.
You just called it a cult.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
Well, I don't know if it's a belief. It's more of a certainty. It's more of an obvious certainty.
It's not a religion.
Well, yeah, it's a religion. It's a religious cult.
Welcome to Clearwater, Florida, and the spiritual headquarters of the controversial Church of Scientology. But this is a place where we're not welcome. We are trying to find out why serious allegations against this church refuse to go away. They include disturbing practices like splitting up families, verbal and physical abuse, even holding employees prisoner. But Scientologists take extreme measures to avoid external scrutiny. Measures, it seems, that come at the direction of their leader, the mysterious David Miscavige, who is at the centre of the church's greatest mystery of all, the whereabouts of his wife Shelly, missing now for 13 years. We're driving through this remote mountain range on the trail of missing woman Shelly Miscavige. You certainly feel like you're away from civilization up here, don't you?
Yeah.
The beauty here is matched only by the isolation, making this the perfect hideaway or hiding spot.
This is as secret as it gets. Most Scientologists had no idea it existed.
And according to whistleblower Tony Ortega, this is where Shelly could well be, in a secret compound that is also home to a doomsday vault.
No matter how beautiful the setting, it just seems cruel.
Shelly is the high priestess of Scientology who vanished 13 years ago. While the church won't speak of it, the belief is Shelly has been banished to this mountain prison by her husband, the leader of the church, the all-powerful David Miscavige.
I think there are a couple places where David Miscavige puts people, and this is one of them.
Shelly, she'll never be free.
Your daughter-in-law.
My daughter-in-law.
Tonight, David Miscavige's own father, Ron Miscavige, gives candid insight into his son's cruelty. Do you think he has the ability, the will, to order his wife be locked away?
Absolutely, there's no question about it. Next stop, infinity. I know it's difficult to believe, but the worst thing about this is I'm telling you the truth. That's the worst goddamn thing that's going on in this interview. This happens. These are pretty bad people, but they don't have a conscience, and that lets them do it.
We barely embarked on our story when we got this 7-page letter from the Church of Scientology's Public Affairs Department putting 60 Minutes on notice, to use their words. They had no direct knowledge of what our story was even about, but somehow had learned that Ron Miscavige was a part of it. They accused us of inciting hate, at the very same time going out of their way to smear Ron, a former 42-year veteran of the church.
Always attack, always attack, always attack. Never defend, attack, attack, attack. If there's no evidence, manufacture it. Come up with something, feed lurid sex, blood crimes to the press. That is Scientology policy, and that's what they do.
Mike Rinder knows because before he left the church, he was one of its most senior enforcers and spin doctors. Today, he's joined forces with Hollywood actress and former Scientologist Leah Remini to call out the church on what it does to people.
You're creating antisocial people, like psychotics, because what we were behind the scenes is insane.
As well as exposing the church, Leah and Mike are crusading for Shelly Miscavige's freedom. They say she's been locked away for more than a decade to protect the church's secrets. Do you believe that Shelly Miscavige is a threat to David?
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's seen it all. She's been by his side the whole time.
Come on, Marty. Got anything to say?
This is the way the church deals with scrutiny.
You're committing suppressive acts.
Intimidation, vilification, and cameras are part of their well-practiced routine to bully and harass people who dare to leave or criticise Scientology.
I'm investigating you on your actions against the Church of Scientology.
You're Channel 9, right?
Our camera crew was immediately in their sights.
No respect. Mate.
Just for filming one of their buildings in Los Angeles.
You know, this is our church. Is that normally the way you treat people of religion?
Still in the early stages of our story and too soon to ask for official comment, we earned this angry attack.
Why haven't you contacted the Church of Scientology Media Relations?
We will.
Why haven't you?
We will. Where is Shelly Miscavige?
Why haven't you contacted Media Relations for the Church of Scientology?
The question of where Shelly Miscavige is goes unanswered by this representative, who also won't identify herself.
You're creating threats against very innocent, wonderful people, but you won't even bother to contact the Church of Scientology Media Relations.
I've told you we
won't
will.
even bother.
You won't even bother to tell me your name.
What
I don't
is
even
the
know who
point?
I'm talking to. She has a mantra, but still no answers, and her next tactic is to get personal.
Coming here and making it seem dark and mysterious. All that does is you create threats against us. Very innocent people. Why do you come here? Why don't you contact Media Relations?
We will.
Are you going to do another piece? I heard about when you kidnapped those 2 children. Is this going to be another thing? Is that how you're going to do this? Are you that dishonest?
The public face of Scientology is far more benevolent, selling itself through celebrity glamour.
I'm part of a frontier in a way, you know, that very few people ever get to be part of.
Its most famous recruit is Hollywood's biggest star, Tom Cruise.
These are the times we will all remember. Were you there?
But this religion, based on self-help psychology, was the 1950 creation of a mere mortal, a science fiction writer, L. Ron Hubbard.
Do you ever think that you might be quite mad?
Oh, yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard was the master of making people believe the unbelievable. In return for vast sums of money, he'd convince them to relinquish their secrets through so-called auditing of their emotions and experiences. And then, after years of expensive courses, he would let them in on his sacred scriptures that centred around an alien dictator called Xenu. When you do get to that information about Xenu, at that point, do you start to question?
Yes.
And question yourselves that you've been...
Yeah, when you get to those levels, you start to go, this is all a lie. Yeah. It's pretty sad. You spend your whole life and, you know, some of us millions of dollars, some their life savings.
Hey, hon. Are you just getting home now?
Co-star of hit sitcom King of Queens, Leah Remini was signed up to Scientology by her mum when she was just 9. Similarly, Shelly Miscavige was given into the sole care of L. Ron Hubbard by her parents when she was 12. She had to sign a ludicrous billion-year contract to work for almost nothing.
I mean, it's still going on today. Parents are giving up their children to go join the Sea Org. They think that's the most important thing that they could do, is to give their children to Scientology.
Could you imagine it?
No, over my dead body.
It was in the Sea Org that Shelly met the young David Miscavige, both so devoted to L. Ron Hubbard, they were Scientology's perfect power couple.
Welcome to church.
With the death of L. Ron, David ultimately assumed leadership, and his wife Shelly was second in charge. They were the king and queen of Scientology. And then in 2005, Shelly disappeared. So when did you first ask, where are you? Where is
At
she?
Tom's wedding in 2006.
Tom Cruise's wedding to Katie Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wasn't there.
She wasn't there. Scientology was calling it the wedding of the century.
It would be a really natural question to ask, wouldn't it?
It was scatter, scatter, scatter. I was standing by a fireplace in this big castle, and I'm like, hey, where's Shelly? And all of a sudden, everybody walks away. And I was like, hey, coming back, or just, you guys getting a drink, or?
Shelly Miscavige being missing is literally like suddenly Prince Philip shows up and there's no queen. I'm serious.
Like at one of the biggest events.
For the Queen's birthday celebration,
She's not
there's
there.
Prince Philip and Harry and Charles and no Queen.
Their account may be funny, but the simple question of where is Shelly Miscavige brought with it a world of pain for Leah. She was summoned to Scientology headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. There, she was forced to undergo intense auditing for 3 to 4 months for her crime.
Interrogation, all day, all night. What are your evil intentions towards mankind? L. Ron Hubbard, Tom Cruise, and it didn't end until I had to admit to things that I didn't feel. And until I said, Tom Cruise is an amazing humanitarian, as well David Miscavige, and they are the only hope that man has, was I able to leave. And that cost me $300,000. Yeah, and I did it.
Tony, is Gold Base as benign as it looks?
So many nightmare stories come out of this location.
But longtime critic of the church, Tony Ortega, says Shelly and David Miscavige lived together in palatial comfort here at the Gold Base compound, an hour and a half east of LA, until 2005. It's believed that summer, while David was away, Shelly finished some outstanding administration without her husband's approval. That action, it seems, sealed her fate.
He just blows his stack. And I've got eyewitnesses to this. He had the biggest temper tantrum of all time. A week later, she vanished.
The fact that at the time no one dared ask where Shelly was, including her own father-in-law, Ron Miscavige, is a chilling insight into the way David Miscavige rules the church. She disappears from sight Did you ask David where she was, your daughter-in-law? Did...
Listen, you don't ask Dave a question like that. You just wouldn't do it. I could not say to him, where's Shelly? Just wouldn't do it.
But Ron is convinced Shelly is alive. What do you think her state of mind might be?
Resignation. She has no hope whatever of ever getting in the good graces of Dave or going free. None.
Okay, well, good luck.
Church of Scientology of New York, how can I help you?
I'd like to get through to speak to David Miscavige. That's my son. This is Ron Miscavige.
Oh, I see. I totally got it. Hold on.
Ron Miscavige is trying to reach his son, the leader of the Church of Scientology, David Miscavige. Do you think she's looking for the number all this time?
No, I think she's gone into a point of indecision, not knowing what to do.
Today, Ron is put on hold for nearly 5 minutes before being transferred to an answering machine.
Hey, this is Ron Miscavige.
As disappointing as this is for Ron, it comes as no real surprise.
If you can get through to David, tell him to give me a call. Have a good day.
Ron's been shunned by his son since he left the church 7 years ago.
I'm no longer a person in his life. And that's the fact of the matter, okay?
Godspeed, lightning speed, and
It's a pattern David Miscavige seems to have perfected, shunning not just his father, but also his wife, Shelly Miscavige, who vanished 13 years ago. With Shelly's parents dead, actress Leah Remini is taking action to find her. What do you think has happened to Shelly?
I don't know. I mean, that's why I filed a police report, missing persons report. It's just, no, you're not getting any answers. We don't have to answer you. Shelly is fine, and she's alive and well, and that's the PR line.
And do you believe that line?
No, I don't.
Police say Leah's missing person report was unfounded, a finding she won't accept. Leah wants proof from the police they met with Shelly, proof from the church that Shelly is okay. Do you believe she's alive?
I hope so.
As preposterous and shocking as the Shelly Miscavige case may seem, making people disappear is not alien to this so-called religion. Here at the Gold Base compound, senior executives of the church, up to 120 at one time, were banished to a makeshift prison called The Hole for unknown crimes and given sentences that seemed never-ending. Some of those executives have been imprisoned now for 15 years. The whereabouts of others is still unknown. It really is quite unbelievable.
There was no end. It wasn't like you were sentenced for a week or sentenced for a month or until X, Y, and Z happens. It was just you went in there and then sort of tried to figure out what you were supposed to do in order to qualify to get out.
The Hole was 2 double-wide trailers joined together with bars on the windows and guards at the doors. Those imprisoned were given slops to eat, the floor to sleep on, and sometimes no electricity. Physical abuse was also part of the daily diet. Despite his senior role as international spokesperson for the church, Mike Rinder was sent there for 2 years. Did David Miscavige ever beat you?
Many times.
And did you witness him beat others?
Many times. I've seen David Miscavige beat people up hundreds of times.
Does he have a conscience?
Yeah, you know, I really don't know. And if I don't know, I guess he doesn't have one. Because some of the things he does, I couldn't do.
Having broken away, Ron Miscavige and his second wife, Becky, are now enemies of the church, which means under Scientology law, they've been cut off from their loved ones who continue to follow the faith.
You know, I feel griefy because, look, I lost my family. It's like they're dead, they're gone. My 2 daughters, my grandchildren. But to attain freedom, it was worth it, because this church is not a church, it's a cult in every sense of the word.
Ron and Becky's escape from this cult is an extraordinary story in itself. Scientology was their spiritual home for 42 years, but in 2012, they knew they had to get out.
I was 76 years old, and I'm the father of the chairman of the board. Nobody thinks I'm gonna escape. That was the biggest cover I had.
If they'd caught you trying to escape, you and your wife, what would they have done to you?
I would have never gotten out. Since if I'd have been caught doing that, then I would have had a security guard watch me 24 hours a day for the rest of my life.
It was Sunday morning, the 25th of March 2012, and with their bags secretly packed, they made a run for it.
My heart is in my throat. The gate opens, I says, Becky, we're turning left. I turned left and stomped my foot on the accelerator. And when we're getting close to Wisconsin, Becky called. She called her brother, Donnie, and she said, Donnie, I'm coming home. This is terrible. I'm sorry, let me get composed here. And he said out loud, he says, somebody get me a drink, Becky's on the way home. Said, a moment of joy. Sorry.
That's all right. Well, why does it make you emotional, do you think?
Fuck. All right, so next question.
Okay, Clearwater, here we come.
Yep. Clearwater is the biggest single source of income for Scientology in the world.
That makes Clearwater, Florida, the Scientology tax-free capital of the world. As Australian and former Scientologist Mike Rinder points out, the biggest and best buildings here belong to the church, worth almost $500 million.
And then, of course, we're coming up to the big one, which is they call the superpower building or the flag building.
Most galling, the massive investment seems to be a front. Most of these buildings stand virtually empty. In this day and age, who can afford $500 million worth of property to sit effectively empty?
Scientology can. Scientology takes in enormous amounts of cash, and they don't like giving it away. They don't like spending it on the poor.
But as a religion that has the privilege of tax-free income, Scientology is required to give back to the community. The allegation is they say they do that by providing services here. But Mike Rinder says those services are rarely used.
In large part, Scientology has become a fundraising and real estate empire rather than a spiritual religious empire.
Mike and actress Leah Remini produce and present Scientology and the Aftermath, an emotional TV series exposing terrible suffering at the hands of the church.
If there is one thing that is the common thread that we see throughout the stories of Scientology, it's broken families. It's destroyed families. People who are being forced to disconnect from other family members, and that shouldn't happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time.
Especially an organization calling itself a religion.
The church would have the world believe that Shelly Miscavige has chosen to vanish.
I mean, it's a beautiful place we're in here.
But author Tony Ortega is adamant her disappearance needs to be investigated. We're just a kilometre from the village of Twin Peaks, at the Church of Spiritual Technology, a secret arm of Scientology which is guarded by cameras and high fences. It's here half a dozen devotees are inscribing on titanium plates the words of L. Ron Hubbard to preserve them for the next 6,000 years, stored in an underground bunker. So it's not so much about what they've got to hide, but what they've got to protect.
Exactly.
There's another camera there, another one there. Tony Ortega says 4 different people from within Scientology have told him that this is where Shelly Miscavige has been for the last 13 years.
I believe this building on the corner is the residence of the person that runs this facility.
Right, okay.
And the one next to it may be where Shelly lives.
Just here?
Yeah, right here.
Well, that's just too frustratingly close.
I know. I was telling you, we're gonna get very close to her if she's in there.
As we approach the compound, it's eerily quiet with no one in sight. There's certainly no answer at the gate, despite multiple attempts to raise someone. Now, they wouldn't have abandoned the site, would they?
No, they're in there.
And while there are cars in the drive and lights on, it seems no one's home at the guard station across the road either. Hello? We'd like to talk to you about Shelly Miscavige. Hello? If you can see us, please come out. We'd like to talk to you. So do you think they know we're here?
Oh, yeah, of course they know. There's cameras on every square inch of this place.
Shelley's supporters believe she's now so indoctrinated and trained in the ways of the church, she would never leave, even if given the chance. Just seems like an incredibly cruel thing to do.
I don't understand some of the people that say, well, she's probably okay. I mean, how do we know? We don't know. It's incredible that this is going on in the United States right now.
I just want to know where Shelly Miscavige is.
Contact media relations with the Church of Scientology. I'll say it over and over again. Do your job right.
I look forward to seeing if they actually give us an answer.
If you try, you might get someplace.
Let's see, shall we?
Wow.
Thank you. As promised, we did contact the church. Their representatives said our request to interview David Miscavige was preposterous. A lawyer acting for Shelly Miscavige told us she's not missing and she's disgusted with Leah Remini for suggesting she is. You know, of course, because you've heard it many times, that the heads of Scientology deny everything you're saying. They say that you were never beaten, nobody ever beat you, you were never tortured, you were never in the hole.
Okay.
You're just seeking publicity and you're a stalker of Shelly Miscavige.
Right. It's getting boring, this response from Scientology, and I'll say it every time now. Cut the bullshit. If what we're saying is untrue, sue us, me and Mike. We're ready for the lawsuit. So that's what I keep saying. We welcome your lawsuit. We welcome it.
Ron Miscavige, too, says he will not be cowed by the church or his son David. Now that he's escaped Scientology, he's intent on warning others that this is not a church, but a con.
It could be the greatest con that's ever been practiced on the public. I'm not doing this for pleasure. I'm a musician. I do that for pleasure. This I do out of duty. I'm a United States Marine veteran. We don't walk with our tail between our legs.
But when your enemy is your son, it must be a very hard thing to do, to sit here and talk about it.
It's hard for me to do it, but I'm not a goddamn victim. I'm doing something about it.
The Church of Scientology is once again proving why it's such a contentious organisation. 2 months ago, a court found one of its members, Hollywood actor Danny Masterson, guilty of multiple rapes. As intolerable as that is, the case has also exposed the extraordinary tactics the church used to protect its star recruit and how it cruelly attempted to silence his victims. Since then, there have been more revelations about life inside Scientology, accusations of serious abuses and mob-style operations and attacks. As you'll see, though, taking on an organisation as bullying and belligerent as Scientology comes at a cost.
Breaking news now, an actor in Hollywood convicted of rape.
A jury has found Danny Masterson guilty of 2 counts of rape.
That's right. Actor Danny Masterson has been found guilty on...
This is trial and conviction of Hollywood actor Danny Masterson for the rape of 2 women has made headlines around the world.
After the guilty verdicts came in, Masterson was immediately handcuffed and sent to jail.
For not only was he on trial, but so too was the powerful Church of Scientology.
Masterson was one of the most visible celebrity Scientologists.
All the accusers are former members.
Scientology played a huge role in this trial.
Danny Masterson was preying on Scientologist women, in part because he knew the church would protect him.
A celebrated Scientologist, actor Danny Masterson was a star of the hit sitcom That 70s Show.
So you need to learn to keep your hands off me.
Me? You're the one who can't keep her tongue to herself.
While his character was hip and funny, off camera, Masterson was a rapist who in 2003 drugged two women before violently sexually assaulting them, one at gunpoint.
I'm never going to be the guy who says the right thing at the right time, okay?
Journalist Tony Ortega broke the story, first publishing the extraordinary allegations back in 2017.
To me, the primary story has been what these women have gone through. I mean, at so many turns, these women have had to fight for this justice, and they've kept their dignity through all of it.
Taking on Masterson meant the women were taking on the mighty billion-dollar Scientology church.
Welcome to church.
As far as religions go, Scientology is the new kid on the block, born from the imagination of American science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s. He would have it that 75 million years ago, humans were invaded by destructive and dangerous alien souls. Only by Scientology can we exorcise them through costly personality testing, auditing, and self-help courses.
Is this a form of psychoanalysis?
No, psychoanalysis, they lay back. Don't associate Scientology with such people. That's terrible. That's bad manners.
After many years and much money, those most deserving are saved, deemed clear of bad alien energy. It's the peak that every good Scientologist strives for. And according to Tony, Hubbard's very calculated grand plan to link his religion to celebrities has also helped bring in the money.
He literally put bounties on the heads of celebrities and asked his members to bring them in. They didn't have very much success at first.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
But then in the 1970s, they started to get people like John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. In the 1980s, they got Tom Cruise. And they knew that this was a key to getting a better, public image for Scientology.
With the Masterson conviction, that public image is taking a battering.
It was never a question for me that it was the right thing to do to testify.
Former Scientologist Claire Headley was the prosecution's star witness in the Masterson rape trial. After 30 years in the church, her expertise was called on to expose to the court the disturbing inner workings of Scientology. What were some of the tactics you talked about in the court?
The policies that forbid Scientologists from reporting to law enforcement, the consequences for a Scientologist if they were to violate that, where Scientology will then work systematically to destroy your life, your family, your livelihood, and silence you.
So you go to the police to report a crime or a rape in particular. What happens to you then?
It is a high crime to do so.
Initially, the women who were raped by Masterson, who were also Scientologists, reported the attacks to the church. The shocking response was classic Scientology methodology. The women were victim-shamed and, predictably, forbidden from reporting to police. Eventually, they did, but it would take a staggering 12 years before the allegations were investigated by authorities.
They not only alleged that they were raped and that the church encouraged them not to come forward, but then when they did come forward in 2016, they claimed that they've been harassed continually.
Why would Scientology turn against these women?
If somebody is, the victim of crime, they're made to believe that they're at fault for it.
The testimony of Claire, with the support of husband Mark, was a pivotal point in the trial. As once high-ranking Scientology officials turned whistleblowers, they packed a punch. Claire was able to decipher for the jury the church's own records. She uncovered a paper trail that showed the church was doing all it could to protect Danny Masterson.
It was very important because, particularly in this case, there were Scientology reports that indicated these crimes had been reported immediately when they happened. However, the reports were laden with the language of Scientology that had to be decoded in such a way that anybody could understand what took place, and that was the role that I played.
Was there specific evidence that in this case the church had knowledge of these rapes and covered them up?
100%. They actively coached and convinced the victims to, when they did report things, to not use certain words and not use certain terminology and not to say the R word and not to mention the firearm. And all these sort of things all kind of add up to, you guys were trying to brush this under the rug, not that you were trying to spiritually enlighten anybody along the way.
Is this the most significant step towards the church becoming accountable, in the eyes of the law at least?
The coverage has been devastating. The testimony has been brutal. But Tara, I'm still waiting to see if there are any government agencies willing to do something. I don't know how much longer we're going to have to wait for a more serious probe of Scientology and the way that it's victimizing people.
Those victims may feel they have a stronger voice now Scientology has been exposed through the Masterson rape trial. But as you'll see, for those disaffected by the church, the first and greatest challenge remains getting out.
Oh my gosh, I was panicking, but I couldn't let anybody see me.
So you had one chance at this?
Yes, yeah, that was it. It's insane, it's crazy. Okay, day 2, being followed by a different vehicle, and I've tried to ditch them 3 times.
By daring to leave it, Valerie Haney has made the Church of Scientology very angry.
And I've just spent the last half an hour trying to lose him.
In retaliation, she says she is often followed and harassed. To further intimidate her, her house has been broken into.
Oh, are you the one who broke into the gate?
Yes, you remember me.
All this from a church that was once her entire existence.
I was born into it, so there was no like outside schooling, outside life, outside friends, outside anything. You're completely shut out from the world. And yeah, that's the definition of a cult. It's definitely all of that.
Valerie's memories shine a light on life within Scientology. When she was just 6, she was made to work.
Doing all of the dishes for 300 people in the cafeteria and mopping and sweeping the floor, and I had to clean the dumpsters, and there was maggots in the dumpsters, and if you didn't work, then you would be sent to interrogation.
If hard labour seems cruel for children so young, the multi-life contracts they were made to sign for almost everything are insane. At what stage did it cross your mind that signing a billion-year contract was a ludicrous notion?
Well, signing a billion-year contract wasn't ludicrous at all to me when I was 8 years old, believing in Peter Pan and Tinkerbell.
Productions is part of the Church of Scientology International.
We produce all the audiovisual used throughout the church.
Even as an adult, Valerie was unaware she was living in a parallel universe. Overworked, underpaid, and denied the freedom to even leave, until she met visiting actors hired to make training videos for parishioners. When did you decide that you needed to get out? What made you decide?
So it was the first time that I had like interaction with real people. so, they would come and ask me like, is it true that you work from like 8 a.m. to midnight? And is it true that you get paid $47 a week? Yeah. And I was like, wow, wait a second, this is not right at all. So that was kind of when I was like, okay, yeah, I need to go.
The day she left in 2016, Valerie made a split-second decision. spurred on by a fast, disappearing, but high-risk opportunity. So how did you get out?
When I found out that there was, it was the last day that there was gonna be any normal people coming onto the property, and I totally freaked out. I was like, this is my last chance, I have to go. Oh my gosh, I was panicking. There was a section in the parking lot where there wasn't any cameras. And so I went to that section and there was 4 cars or 5 cars, and I checked each car and one was unlocked, and I was like, okay, great. And then I popped the trunk and I was like, this is it, the one car. Okay, I don't know who you are, I don't know where you're going. So I tried to squeeze into the trunk of the car, close the trunk of the car. And then I heard my name, like they were looking for me already, and I was like, please don't pop the trunk, please don't pop the trunk, please don't pop the trunk.
If you had been caught at that time, what would have happened to you?
I would have been put on 24-hour watch and never let out of anyone's sight ever again.
So you had one chance at this?
Yeah, that was it. It's insane. It's crazy.
Incredibly, the car got through security, with Valerie in the boot for the next 2 hours.
That's how I escaped, and I still don't know what the guy's name was to this day that helped me.
But when he discovered you there, he must have got the shock of his life.
He leaped back about 7-10 feet. Oh my God, oh my God, you were in there this whole time, and are you okay? Oh my gosh, and he was like, are you okay?
It's unthinkable that such desperate lengths are needed to leave a church you no longer believe in. But sadly, simply walking away is not an option, as Mark and Claire Headley also know. Their escapes in 2005 could also be the stuff of Hollywood. Why did you guys have to escape? Why couldn't you just leave, walk out the door?
Unless you have prior authorization to leave the property, you are not allowed to just come and go as you wish. So when I decided to leave, I'm just like, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. And in the course of me driving down the highway, they followed me with an SUV and ran me off the road on the motorcycle. And that's actually the only reason that I was able to escape, is because when they did that, somebody that was driving down the highway witnessed it and then called the police. Without the help of the police, I would very likely still be there to this day.
Wow. How did you get out of their clutches, Claire?
Well, I concocted this need to leave the property. Even then, I had a security escort, so I managed to quite literally run away from this person, jump into a taxi. I made the mistake of turning on the phone when I was heading to the bus station, and they used that to see the direction I was heading, and therefore sent 4 staff members to intercept me. In my mind, I decided, if they haul me out of here, I'm going to scream. And I had no faith, no hope. I just, I knew that if I didn't succeed, I would never see Mark again.
Valerie Haney's freedom came with a false start. After making her dramatic escape in the boot of a stranger's car, her father, still a Scientologist at the time, insisted she return.
If you could just let me go, I will sign whatever you need me to sign. I would never, ever say anything bad about Scientology.
If she was to leave, he wanted it to be on the church's terms, which would require her to sign a contract and make a positive video about Scientology. Valerie's deprogramming was meant to take 2 weeks. They held her for 3 months. What did they want you to say? What did they get you to say?
They wanted me to say how amazing it was and how I was never held against my will, and I was never abused at all, and I loved it there, and it was amazing. It was like a Disneyland paradise. Are you joking? Like, I'm literally in a room with an armed guard and 5 people outside the room. You have my passport, you have my ID, I have nothing on me. I can't do anything.
But escaping to the real world is no protection against this bulletproof institution, as Valerie discovered when she tried to sue it, forced back to the compound once more to negotiate with her alleged abusers.
You are making this woman go inside of the place that she was abused, trafficked, kidnapped, inside, back into the belly of the beast.
Hello and welcome. You've probably heard of Scientology.
He may not show it, but the supreme leader of Scientology, David Miscavige, is under immense pressure. The church's reputation is taking a beating, with multiple court cases hearing complaints of terrible abuses from former followers. But Miscavige has been missing in action, found by a judge to have actively concealed his whereabouts to evade taking the stand. Journalist Tony Ortega has been covering the bizarre developments. No doubt, though, he is still running the show.
Oh, there's no doubt he's still running the show. He's not missing. He's just hiding from process servers. It's pretty embarrassing for Scientology, I think.
Quite extraordinary behaviour from Scientology's Pope, though accountability has never really been their thing. But Valerie Haney is the face of a growing legal fightback, suing the church for human trafficking, kidnapping, harassment, stalking, and the violation of child labour laws. In Scientology, you have taken on a mighty opponent. Do you feel like you're still standing?
Yeah, it's been a bit rough at times, for sure. They've tried to make it as rough as possible, but I'm not gonna let that stop me.
Inconceivably, Valerie's first legal hurdle has been to try to overturn the contracts she was made to sign while in Scientology. Amongst the many over her 37 years in the church, she signed her first when she was just 8 years old. It was a billion-year pledge.
All of the laws and the documentation and everything that they're making me sign aren't binding in the real world, because I was a child when I joined this cult.
But the real world is judging otherwise, with courts claiming they can do no else. Religious freedom means the contracts, no matter how long or onerous, cannot be questioned by the law. Can you explain to me how these contracts can actually be considered legitimate in a court of law?
That's a great question. What's happening is that the courts are saying under our First Amendment that they can't read into or in any way assert the rule of law into what this quote-unquote religion believes, which we're not asking them to do. We're not asking them to do that.
Guy DeAndrea is Valerie's attorney. He is asking the courts to judge what Scientology does, not what it thinks.
You can believe in human sacrifice. If that's what you believe, you can believe that. You can't commit that act, right? You can't do that. And that's all we're saying here. But the courts, for whatever reason in Val's case, are refusing to see that or refusing to look at it, at least at this stage.
In other cases, judges have said their hands are tied. Do you agree with that?
No, their hands are not tied. You don't have to look at the belief system.
But to resolve the case, the court has ordered Valerie to return to the lion's den, to enter Scientology's internal arbitration process, allowing the church to be its own judge and jury. How let down do you feel by the legal system?
I was definitely shocked when I was told to go back into their grips. I was shocked when I was told that I had to do that.
Valerie will subject herself to arbitration if it means she might eventually get to a proper court. But whistleblower Claire Headley says judges are being hoodwinked. Scientology's arbitration has nothing to do with their religious beliefs. Rather, it's a contrived legal strategy.
There is no such thing as arbitration. It is not Hubbard policy. It is not Scientology policy. It is simply an effort by Scientology to cover up more crimes.
If we can just get into the litigation, right? If we can start taking depositions, right? Interviewing their people on the record, getting the documents, getting the videos, we will truly expose to the world, which Scientology does not want, what's really happening inside of those armed doors. And I mean armed.
I believe this building on the corner may be where Shelly lives.
Just here?
Yeah, right here.
Well, that's just too frustratingly close.
I know.
Scientology does secrecy better than anyone. Its most confounding and enduring mystery is the whereabouts of Shelly Miscavige, David's missing wife, not seen publicly for nearly 2 decades. In 2019, Tony Ortega and I travelled to Twin Peaks, California, to the compound where it's believed the one-time high priestess of the church has been kept out of sight since 2006. Hello? We'd like to talk to you about Shelly Miscavige. Hello? If you can see us, please come out. We'd like to talk to you. Has anything changed since you and I went looking for her?
There's been some new information, but generally it's the same situation as when you and I went up to the compound there. I still fully believe she's there. I've seen some records that suggest she is.
Just a month and a half ago, this photo of Shelly surfaced. It was taken when she managed to renew her driver's licence in 2010. Documents also confirm the LAPD met with Shelly and an attorney for Scientology in 2013. But since then, nothing, apart from statements from the church denying Shelly is missing. They don't say where she is, only that she's working on a special project.
I think she's still cut off from the rest of the world. I think she's cut off from her own family. And, the law enforcement just does not seem interested in the fact that David Miscavige has managed to banish his wife to a small mountain compound for 18 years now.
Do you think that Shelly would leave if she could? I mean, are you sure that this isn't her choice?
I'm not sure it's not her choice, but until I hear Shelly say that she wants to stay there, I guarantee you she's thought about leaving, and she's thought about what life could be on the outside, and she should have that choice.
You are a Scientologist. You are a mindless robot.
The great hope is that the recent conviction of Scientologist and actor Danny Masterson, facing 30 years in jail for multiple rapes, changes everything. That once and for all, Scientology will be unmasked, allowing more and more victims to sue the church for their suffering. In the meantime, Valerie Haney's advice is simple: steer clear. What warning would you give others about Scientology?
I would say don't even think about it. And I would say run for the hills. Do not get involved at all whatsoever.
You must feel like you're sort of betraying yourself sometimes to talk out about it.
Well, yeah, it's going against everything I was ever taught. I'm like dripping with sweat right now. Like but I know that it's right, and I know that it's the truth. So I have to, help others, and I have to make sure that it's not going to harm other people.
We sent the Church of Scientology a series of questions, some of which they've responded to, along with various legal threats. You can read what they say on our website, but predictably, they completely ignored our inquiries about the whereabouts of Shelly Miscavige and our request to see and speak to her. One-time sitcom actor and Church of Scientology devotee Danny Masterson is now also a convicted rapist. 10 days ago, he was jailed for 30 years for his violent crimes. But what's been revealed since his sentencing is the support he received from fellow Hollywood stars, including Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. In letters to the judge asking for leniency for Masterson, the married couple described their friend more like a saint than a sinner. They said he was a role model and an exceptional character. Not surprisingly, their comments have caused outrage.
Did you steal my Cheetos again?
By their very nature, Hollywood stars Ashton Kutcher and wife Mila Kunis love attention. But their enthusiastic support for convicted rapist Danny Masterson, their co-star and friend, has caused such a furor, even they wish they could turn off the spotlight.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
I knew people were going to be really interested to see that two of the letters were written by Danny's co-stars from that 70s show, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. And boy, did it cause a firestorm on social media.
Journalist Tony Ortega first published the power couple's character references a week and a half ago. The rest, as they say, is history, forcing this public relations-driven apology.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. We're sorry if that has taken place.
Why do you think there was such a reaction?
I guess people were shocked to find out that Ashton and Mila, who kind of have branded themselves as activists for victims, would write letters on behalf of a person who had been convicted already. These letters were written post-conviction. Their friend had been convicted of 2 violent rapes, and they had still written a letter to the judge asking for leniency.
Breaking news now, an actor in Hollywood convicted of rape.
It was always going to be a headline trial, an atrocious crime committed by a sitcom celebrity who was a favoured son of the controversial church of Scientology. Throw into the mix famous friends who had a habit of helping out, whether it was performing at Scientology events or, in this case, doing their bit to reduce whatever jail sentence Masterson faced for raping 2 women in 2003. What do you make of their apology?
I guess it got to such a fever pitch they felt they had to say something. I don't know what they were thinking, but I guess they're just shocked that this became a news story and they felt they had to get out in front of it.
The 47-year-old was found guilty in May. When it came to his sentencing 10 days ago, in a desperate bid for leniency, Masterson's family called on Hollywood to paint him as a decent and kind man. Ashton and Mila obliged, just 2 of 50 letter writers. In their unreserved praise, Ashton says of his 25-year friendship with Masterson, "I don't ever recall him lying to me. He also set an extraordinary standard around how you treat other people."
Do you really think we're a creepy, unnatural couple?
Come on. It's a crazy question.
Mila, who also worked with Masterson on that 70s show, said, "I could sense his innate goodness and genuine nature. One of the most remarkable aspects of Danny's character is his unwavering commitment to discouraging the use of drugs." These character references, the apology video, has almost overshadowed the news of the sentencing itself. Why do you think people are so outraged?
Well, you know, I think it's the tone of the letters and the sort of irony in some of the letters. For example, many of the letter writers refer to Danny's work against drugs. And I kept thinking, do you realize you're writing a letter for a guy who's been convicted of drugging and raping women? I mean, I think that's what outraged people so much, is that we know what he's been convicted of, and yet these people are saying he's like the best person they've ever met.
The judge didn't buy it and sentenced Masterson to 30 years in jail. While gathering character references is routine at sentencing hearings, it is now the pair's judge of character that is in question. It speaks to a bubble, doesn't it? Not only do we have a Scientology bubble at play here, but a Hollywood bubble as well, that there's no real understanding how the outside world will react to this.
Well, then that's the next question that comes up is how much did Ashton and Mila really know? Because they were very close to him. Danny at that time was openly calling himself DJ Donkey Punch. This is a sexual slang term of assault, and he wore it like a badge. And so I just have to wonder, what did his friends think about that at that time? That's what I'd like to hear from Ashton is, did you really not know what was going on? And that's kind of the opposite of what we're hearing from him in this character letter.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
Do we know how Danny Masterson's victims are feeling about these character references?
Oh, they're outraged. I mean, they had gone into court on Thursday and gave these heart-rending victim impact statements. They're just absolutely incredible statements that these women made. And I also really like the way Jane Doe 1 repeatedly brought it back to Scientology and explained how Scientology made everything worse, re-victimized them time and time again, and has continued to harass them to this very day. So I don't want people to forget what a big part of this trial Scientology was.
Not only did it harass the victims, but it protected Danny Masterson right from the beginning.
For years and years, Danny Masterson was a Scientology celebrity who preyed on Scientology women because he knew Scientology would protect him.
Can't close my mouth. Can you close your mouth?
The church knew of the allegations against Masterson in 2003, but did nothing. And as part of church law, the women were banned from going to police. It took all their strength to go anyway.
It's in their ethics book, it's in their written policies, and you had Scientologist after Scientologist on the witness stand saying, yep, that's what I was taught. And every day, the spokesman for that church would tell reporters, it's not true, we don't have that policy, it's all a lie. And of course the media is obliged to report that as Scientology's response, instead of Scientology's blatant lie, which is what it was, day after day after day. And I don't know, I just hope that it's getting through to people that this is a criminal organization pretending to be a religion.
Danny Masterson denies he raped anyone and is set to appeal his conviction.
Sometimes they get it wrong, and that's what happened here.
But there is no doubt for Tony Ortega, who has long reported on the worst of Scientology, this is an opportunity to expose the ills of this so-called church, a chance for authorities to finally do something. Could this trial in some way spell the end of Scientology?
Well, it's hard to say, but I mean, I don't know that anything has ever been served to them on a platter like this, where you've got victims, you've got harm, you've got ongoing cover-ups, you've got the subjugation of law enforcement. It's all there. You've got witnesses, you've got a conviction. What is the government waiting for?
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.